The SFSC Foundation provides financial support for today's students with the opportunity for enhanced access to an affordable, quality education, training, and experience they will need to excel as tomorrow's leaders. All right, welcome back, listeners. Today we bring you a special edition episode of Take a Pause, the South Florida State College podcast, where we pause to highlight the people and partnerships making a difference in the community. I'm Anastasia Fuchser with the SFSC Foundation, who's taken over the studio today to shine a spotlight on one of our most valued partners. AdventHealth has been a long-standing supporter of higher education at South Florida State College and is our 2026 Diamond Level annual sponsor of the foundation. So joining us today is Mr. Jason Dunkel, CEO of AdventHealth, to talk about the power of partnership, workforce development, and the impact of healthcare and education working together for our region. Welcome, Mr. Dunkel.
Anastasia, really good to be with you and with the college. Always good.
Awesome. Well, we know you're very busy, and we appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today and talk it through. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So first, Mr. Dunkel, for those who may not know much about you, can you share a little bit about your journey with AdventHealth and what ultimately brought you to serve our community?
Sure. So I'm a Floridian, native Floridian, and I was actually born in Bradenton, grew up in the Tampa Bay market, and AdventHealth has a large footprint, as most people know, in Central Florida, Orlando, and Tampa, and the Heartland. And but ironically, it took me going to Tennessee to get with AdventHealth. I left the state of Florida when I was in college and went to a small private Christian college in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Ended up staying in that market for years, actually, about 17 years.
Oh, wow.
And I started an urgent care. So went out on my own, and that was my first big venture. I've always been an entrepreneur and had this dream to start that urgent care. Well, 2008 hit. I ended up divesting. Thankfully, and thank God, it made it through that very difficult time in 2008. But I did put a resume out, and I put a resume out, and there was a CEO in a very small hospital in Jellicoe, Tennessee. So 3,000 people were there, 54-bed hospital. And so that's where I got started. On the business side. It was a business development job. Mm-hmm. Actually, I did some foundation work too.
Oh, okay.
Coincidentally, so I really fell in love with foundation at that point. Stayed there for almost 4 years. My wife and I, we had a couple kids there. It was a very tender and special time looking back on it. Mm-hmm. And very humble roots to start in a town, 3,000 people. Median incomes were $18,000 a year. Most everyone was dependent on government subsidies. Mm-hmm. And so the foundation was very important to our hospital and to the role that we played to help our community out. But from there, went to a very opposite environment in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, a little bit bigger.
Right, just a little bigger. Millions of people and median income 4 or 5 times. Mm-hmm. Actually, it was about 120,000 back in 2014. Okay. So yes, completely different environment. And then I kept my eye on the Tampa market. I wanted full circle to come back home, and I got that opportunity at AdventHealth, North Pinellas and Tarpon Springs. Stayed there for 7 years and loved every moment. Became CEO of the hospital there, and then I was asked to come to the Heartland, and I showed up here in 2022 and have loved every moment as well. We have such an amazing community, and to some degree, it's kind of a composite of the places that I've lived. Mm-hmm. Kind of the small town. You can say Wauchula might be more like a Jellicoe. And there are elements, outside of Tampa, like a Ruskin, Riverview, Brandon, years ago, that I see Sebring close to today. And so yeah, it feels like home. Last thing I'll say is, my grandfather was a tomato farmer in Ruskin.
Okay.
So, Wauchula,
right.
Not too far, Sebring, Avon Park, Lake Placid. So it really has felt like home, and it is home. So,
well, good. Well, thank you for sharing that journey with us. And yeah, I think what you mentioned, starting in the, emergency room area and then moving to the smaller, to the larger, you kind of got all those experiences to help bring you to the leader you are today to serve our community. So that's wonderful. And we welcome you here. We're so glad you're here. So let's jump into our conversation. So the South Florida State College Foundation's mission is to provide financial support for students with the opportunity for enhanced access to an affordable quality education, training, and experience they will need to excel as tomorrow's leaders. So knowing that and knowing that AdventHealth has been a longstanding supporter of higher education and is a 2026 Diamond Level annual sponsor for the foundation, why do you personally feel it's important to support the foundation's mission?
Yeah, so I'm very passionate about foundations because I've been on foundations, I've been exposed to them, I've seen the great work that they've done on the hospital side, and I think similarly it's close to hospital work. Like we're not for profit, and so we depend from a hospital standpoint greatly on those dollars to do more for our community, to provide technology and to provide programs, that sort of thing. And same thing for you all. Our budgets can only take us so far. And without the gifts from the foundation and without people working towards making new things happen and investments and capital projects, technology, whatever that might be, things just wouldn't be the same. I mean, I shudder to think about either of our organization without the foundation as a part of it, right?
Right.
The millions of dollars that have been raised and generated to support these amazing initiatives that you have here at the college, without the foundation, it would not happen, and those dollars would just not be there. That affects people's lives. It really does, and it makes our community better when we can invest. And so, from AdventHealth's standpoint, to be able to give to your foundation at the highest level, we're very excited to do that, and we feel called to do that as well.
Well, we appreciate it. It does make a huge impact, and it's, investments for the future. And when, we focus on investing in the lives of our students, because we know they are trying to make themselves better. And in turn, it will make their lives, their families' lives better. And then, hopefully, stick around and make our communities better. And that's what we're all here for, is the growth.
That's right.
So, well, I know AdventHealth has been such a strategic partner with the foundation, not only for the college, but in our students and believing in higher education. So from your perspective, what does higher education mean for a region like the Tri-County area that South Florida State College serves?
Yeah, it really means everything, having access to education. You think about, I would ask it this way, what would our community look like if we didn't have the college here?
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, we're such a rural community.
What would it be like? What would our community look like if we didn't have a hospital here? You and I wouldn't be here, but so many people wouldn't be here either. Because you're here, because the hospital's here, people choose to move here, period.
Right.
And what you do through your educational efforts and really bringing the highest caliber of learning to our community, you actually fuel other organizations and businesses to come here because now they have that educational support. You give your students confidence that they will have a job too, right? Through training them adequately. And so I think that I can't say enough about the importance of this college being in this town.
Well, we appreciate that, and through partnerships and different community partners, we feel passionate about what we provide here because it is, once a student or an individual has an education, that can't be taken away from them.
That's right.
And whether they're, getting a certificate in AA, their 4-year, or moving on past that, they are trying to make themselves better, and it is so impactful. And we appreciate you being a part of that and believing in higher education and having that passion as well. So as you know, SFSC, we have some strong programs in the healthcare world. We have nursing, surgical services, and radiography. Can you talk about the partnership between AdventHealth and the SFSC nursing program and how that relationship began?
Yeah, so those three areas that you mentioned with nursing, surgical services, and radiography, and those are tech positions, are so critical to the daily operations of a hospital that if we don't have those three positions in place, we can't run. So we would have to close. And so from my standpoint, it's so important to be tethered to the college for those three areas as well as other areas that we talk about. I think back at how it started, and sometimes when you come to a new organization or a new town like I did, you're the beneficiary, I should say, of excellent ideas and things that were put in place before you got there. And that's what happened here. It was a result of COVID. We really need to strengthen the amount of nurses and the local relationships with our educational institution, and so it made perfect sense for leadership at AdventHealth and the leadership of the college then to come together and to make sure that we supported one another. Your college president has always been on our board, and so that helped. And I think we were closely connected, but that really took it to another level.
Right.
To have this partnership that we actually put in writing, and we put all the details down on paper, and you're able to receive matching dollars with that grant, and so it's important for you. It's a win-win for us because now we're able to bring in nurses every year and techs, rad techs, and surgical services techs as well. So each year we get around 60 nurses in.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a really great number.
Where we used to have like major shortages,
Yeah.
and we still do, and these are new nurses, so you can imagine they take a little bit more time to train and get
Right.
oriented, but 60 nurses.
Yeah, that's huge. And that's wonderful for us to know and share with our students. Hey, look, there is still a need. We've got this connection to be able to have a job once you graduate.
Yes,
So
yes, and keeping, I guess these great wages in town, right?
Right.
Right.
Yep.
These jobs are hard to come by.
Yep.
And we need to keep them in Highlands County.
Yeah, because
all that we can.
it folds back into our economic impact as
That's
well
right,
by
that's
keeping
right.
them here, and that's the
right.
goal. So, yeah, and funny story. It's just to go off on a little tangent. I had to come to AdventHealth for an X-ray, and all three techs that took my X-rays were graduates from South Florida State College. So I knew I was in good hands.
All right.
So
All right.
it's great. But yeah, so we're truly grateful for the partnership, and just like you said, with this partnership, it's just a pipeline that we have of students going into the local healthcare market through this partnership. We're building that long-term, impact both in education and healthcare that I think we all can see and feel. So, but with the healthcare staffing, nationwide, it's a challenge. So how has working with SFSC helped AdventHealth address the workforce needs right here at home?
Yeah, so if I look at AdventHealth locally, we have for RN vacancy rates, it's up to about 10% still.
Okay.
So, and then if you layer on harder to fill positions like ICU RN positions,
Okay.
that vacancy rate would be even greater. And even like surgical techs and rad techs, these positions, if we didn't have the connection to the college here, that vacancy rate could be 15 or 20%.
Okay.
So it really is amazing that we have this relationship and that we've worked to help each other out, and the partnership has worked very, very well. But so we look at it like what's the vacancy rate, and then what is the average time to fill. And for some of these positions, like I mentioned, like ICU RN, it might be greater than 90 days to even fill one position.
Right.
And
Which is a critical position.
It is. And then with open heart surgery coming, that's another level of ICU care, because you
Right.
have a cardiac ICU nurse that you'll need, and not just one. We'll need like 16 of them.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's daunting to think about that sort of supply being local, but you're helping us because every nurse that you bring in, even if they're a new nurse, a GN nurse, we call them, graduate nurse, guess what? 2 years goes by, 3 years goes by, they're in the ICU, and then they continue to elevate their training, and then some of those nurses will end up in our CVICU in a couple years.
Yep.
And that's exciting.
That'll be
that
huge.
We can give them that full continuum too for their careers.
And to know that you guys, have been a part of their journey, starting at South Florida State College, moving into being hired, and then continuing their education and
That's
supporting
right.
them.
That's
so
right.
it'll be full circle for that.
So exciting
Yeah, very
to see
cool.
them
Very
progress
cool.
in their careers. Yes.
Well, with Advent Health, with the continued support of the foundation as the Diamond Level annual sponsor, you're making an impact, like I said, for the college and our students, but so much more than that. You can see the impact you make on our community and other areas as well. So as a healthcare leader in this region, what impact do you see as Advent Health having on the overall health and well-being of our community?
Yeah, so when I look at the overall well-being of our community, I kind of separate it out. I look at sick care and then well care. We make a huge impact, from a sick care standpoint or from an emergency care standpoint. Hundreds of thousands of visits annually. We've been here since 1948, so millions of visits actually over that time period, 77, 78 years. So it's pretty obvious from the sick side of things, sick care side of things, how we play and the importance of the role that we play to keep people who are sick healthy and give them their lives back.
Right.
So that's one, obviously that's kind of the primary role, but I think maybe even coming to a primary role or growing in importance is keeping people healthy, right? So that they don't get sick in the first place. So that's our role too. And, I think of some of our doctors in the community. Dr. Roquis here in Avon Park, he does all sorts of amazing seminars for people, from, mental health to diabetes care to some of these other disease states that really nutrition can help turn around and exercise and kind of getting back to the healthy tenets of what it takes to live life to the full. And it does speak to our mission too, to provide mind, body, and spirit, that whole person care.
Right.
And that's what we are about. And so don't want to just focus on the sick care, really want to, in the future, focus on well care and keeping people healthy,
Almost
right?
like preventative care.
Yeah,
so
preventative
rather
care.
than having to see you sick in the hospital, we want to just help you care for yourself.
That's right.
And live your mission, like
that's
you
right.
mentioned.
And not just give you a pill for everything, but teach you how to get off that pill.
Yeah.
Right?
Right? That would be a good thing.
That's giving people their life back.
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
I'm excited about that just as much as I am about providing excellent acute care is what we call it.
Okay.
And in the future, I see a wellness center on our campus. We'll call it the whole care center and provide, maybe some mental health. Someone like Dr. Roquis could be there providing lifestyle medicine. Maybe even having consults with patients that are sick to have a lifestyle medicine doctor come when they're an inpatient and provide that sort of expertise and then plug them into a lifestyle medicine course when they get out so that they understand how to maybe reverse the illness.
Yeah.
So these are things I get really excited about talking about.
Yeah, you can
in
tell.
the future.
You can tell. That's very cool.
Yeah.
And we do love, like you said, your motto, that whole body. That's what it's about. Just caring for
mind, body, spirit.
caring for the
Yes.
whole person.
That's
in
right.
All. So
That's right.
that's what makes the impact, I think, So how is Advent Health continuing to build on that impact and improve the care available to residents? I know you shared some visions there. But...
Yeah. So we're doing a lot in this area, but expanding services. So some of my job, when I first got here, I said, wow, let me look at gaps in care, coverage, specialties. Let's look at who's leaving town to go and get services and why are they doing that? We want to stop that from happening. We want to recruit more specialists into this market. We want to, begin more programs and service lines that will keep people from having to go outside of our community for that type of care. And as we're growing in really the evolution of our hospital in the next probably 5 years, we'll become more of a tertiary center. Open Heart's coming here, so that's really exciting. So all those patients that were going to Lakeland or Tampa, Orlando, will now stay here if they choose to, but we'll have some of the best doctors around to care for them. So that's a really great, tangible example of the work we're doing today to keep more and more patients here. But it really comes down to expanding our services and then recruiting more specialists to this town. And we're in a really good place for that today.
That's good to hear.
Yes, we are.
Because sometimes people think we are so small town and rural to how to recruit those specialties here. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, and I do think that sometimes when people think of our hospital, they might think of the old days, Walker Memorial, the 80s, the 90s, even early 2000s, and we are radically different today than we were then in terms of the number of specialists here, the number of specialties here, the number of programs, the number of technology, and just across the board, it's night and day. And we were a nice little community hospital then and had wonderful doctors and a team, but today we have really elevated into something that you would see outside of a major city.
Yeah.
And I tell people that it's really like Avon Park and Sebring is more like a suburb. It's really not rural. We have everything that a suburb would have without the big city attached to it.
Yeah.
Right?
Which I'm okay with. Keep the traffic away,
exactly.
right?
Keep all it away.
But
from a medical standpoint, that's exciting to have those services. And I can tell you, and I'll probably talk about some of the innovations at some point in our conversation today, but we're doing a lot of amazing things that I don't even think or I know Tampa and Orlando isn't doing. We're doing
cool.
that here.
That's very cool to hear and good to hear, and just, state-of-the-art technology that I know you're bringing in and things like that. So with that growth and that improvement that you're talking about, what are the services and specialties that AdventHealth has brought to the area so our residents don't have to go outside and travel anymore?
Yeah, so you think about what we're known for here has been cardiology. And so we are a leader in the state. We have the #1 PCI program, and that's an interventional type of procedure that's done, like for those who have a heart attack, call that a STEMI, or if you have any blockages, we'll go and open those vessels up, gives life back, right?
Yeah.
And so we have, by health grades, which they rank based on quality, the #1 program in the state of Florida. That's
huge.
That's huge, right? Here in Sebring. So if you live in Sebring, you live in the Heartland, Avon Park, just know you should have confidence to the fullest degree. If you have a cardiac issue, this is the place for you. You don't have to go anywhere. We have brought EP physicians in. We're doing renal denervation. So it's actually for patients that have high blood pressure that even medications can't lower. Now we're one of the only hospitals in the state of Florida that's doing this renal denervation stent, basically around your kidneys, that will help you get off those drugs and off your blood pressure meds. And Dr. Shimchak and team, Shimchak is a renowned physician, and many people know who he is, but he's leading that program. If you're having a heart attack, the national standard is about a 60-minute, like door to balloon time, which means your vessel will be opened and your life could be saved. Here it's 30 minutes.
Wow.
So like 30 minutes greater, right? And better than even the national standard. So we all need to be really proud of the medicine that is happening here in this community and at AdventHealth. And I'm so proud of the group of doctors there. In addition to cardiology, we're doing something really cool in urology. It's called aquablation. And so it's almost like a GPS map that reduces the side. It sweeps the prostate out. So that's what's called aquablation, because it uses a water jet to sweep the prostate. And for overlarge prostates, it gives men their life back.
Wow.
Preserves all of their function, and it is life-changing. If you talk to someone who had this done, they just thank us over and over again. And this is a procedure that many hospitals don't have outside of this market. And we are one of the nation's leader for aquablation here in Highlands County. So that's just 2 examples. We have radiation oncology. We're helping cancer patients, cutting edge technology there with the True Beam linear accelerator. And then I think about general surgery, bariatrics, and all the things that are happening there. So yes, we're doing really well with some of these advanced procedures. And
I don't think we're that community hospital anymore.
No,
I think we're growing up.
We're growing up. We really are growing
and
up.
That's great.
It's exciting to see.
Great to hear for the health of our community and our members. And I know just part of that in you've got construction going on
Yes.
right now. So what is that about going on out there?
Wow. Yeah. So last Friday, they enabled the crane, and they did all the work to get the crane built. And I saw some posts in Highlands County, and it said happenings now, and they put this big crane up. And so what we're doing, just so everyone knows, we are adding up to 100 beds. That's kind of the first headline.
Okay.
The first phase of that will be a 34-bed ICU. Embedded in that 34 beds will be a 6-bed cardiovascular ICU. So 6 of the 34 ICU beds will be cardiovascular for our open heart program.
Nice.
So you have a CV ICU. Then we have 2 new ORs coming. One will be a hybrid OR for vascular surgery. So the latest and greatest, talking about, taking care of people to the highest degree. Yes, that's the latest and greatest. Amazing technology in that OR. We're also going to expand our central sterilization. So that's so critical to have, we call it an SPD department, and that sanitizes all of our sterile equipment and processes all the equipment needed for surgeries. And so that's going from 1,800 square feet up to 4,500 square feet, brand new, to support our ORs. So all in, it's a $130 million project, adding 100 beds, new ICU, new ORs for open heart surgery and advanced surgeries, and it'll be done in about 18 months. So
That's
we
incredible.
have end of 27 right now is where we're
Okay.
slated.
Well, we'll be ready for that grand
Yeah.
opening, because that's going to be a huge enhancement and impact on the healthcare. And you can just tell you're excited about it
Oh, yeah.
and what it's bringing to the community.
Oh yeah, because I see how busy we are, and I don't like being at capacity from the standpoint of having patients, in our ER for an extended period of time. And so why it excites me is that to have beds available in real time, that we can take patients from the ER, place them in a bed, not just a bed, but a brand new bed in an amazing environment. It brings me a lot of joy, and it brings my team a lot of joy as well. So just know we're one busy season away, and in that next busy season, we hope to be
here.
ready with a couple new floors.
Well, we'll be excited for that. That's coming
Yes.
soon. So
Yes.
thanks for sharing that little insight with
Absolutely.
us. So looking ahead with emerging healthcare trends, whether technology, telehealth, or preventative care, what are you most excited about for this community?
Yeah, so I think telehealth is exciting. We just installed a new technology in all of our inpatient rooms called Smart Room technology. And so now physicians can interact with our patients. So it might be like, let's think of a very hard to find subspecialist where there might be only 5 in Orlando. Now we could bring them into a patient's room to talk about a very difficult diagnosis or specialty, where they could then provide a consult to a patient for their issue.
Okay.
And so we replaced all the old whiteboards, which were kind of you'd put your handwriting on
Yeah.
there and chicken scratch on there, with really the latest technology. It's a digital board. They can see their doctor's pictures. They can see their nurse's pictures. Provides information on their care that they're receiving, medications and all that, and then to be able to bring in some of these subspecialists as consults in the future, I think that is amazing. And even outside of the room, there's a digital board that you could stand out if there's any infection issues where it might make it hard for a provider to walk in the room,
Okay.
because they'd have to gown up, and it could create some difficulties for the doctor, but now they can be outside of the room and they can actually communicate with a patient on camera.
Nice.
Which is really
So
amazing.
almost extra care, you want to say that
Yeah.
the doctor can still, go in and have that conversation with them just from outside.
Exactly, if they ever needed to.
Yeah.
And so smart rooms are really amazing. And then what the world of course, AI is doing
Yeah.
in our space as well. And, it's... We're really working even now to just utilize it as a strong tool for our physicians and in radiology and in cancer, and finding things before the human eye would have,
Right.
As an overlay in our ER to find incidental findings, and so we're already using AI in the hospital, which is very exciting, and who knows where it's going to go, but I tend to look at AI from a positive lens. No matter what the technology is, it goes both ways, right? People will use it for good and people will use it for bad.
Exactly.
So we're going to use it to bring good to our patients. I know that, and excited about what that world looks like.
Yeah, I would say I'm probably more on the cautionary side of
Yeah.
AI, but I know and can see the positive side of it, how it can be used as such a strong tool in so many different areas. You can
Yes.
see it in the classrooms with us. You can see how it can help you all. So, I think there's a lot still to come with that, and we'll see where it goes.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
very good. Well, is there anything you'd like to share with us that we haven't talked about before we wrap things up here?
I think we've talked a lot about our relationship, which is so important. The fact that we've been here and the college has been here for so long is really a staple in our community. But just for those listening to have confidence in healthcare for the future, I just want you to have confidence because I know kind of what's behind the curtain.
Yeah.
I know how great the quality of care is. We're not perfect, but we're aspiring to get there. There's no doubt about it. And if we mess up, you know what? We own it. And we look people in the eyes and we do the right thing. Our mission is to extend the healing ministry of Christ. And when you have that audacious of a mission statement, you really have to own things. And so our culture is that. And I'm really proud of the culture we have, the people that work there that show up every day and bring their purpose, their calling, and their why to the work on behalf of the patient. And so that's what really excites me is just, trying to get more people like that and fill our hallways with people that come every day with purpose. And I know that if we accomplish that, that the care will be amazing.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think when you step in there, you can tell that the people care about what they do, so then they care about the people they're caring for.
That's right.
And that's important.
And that's why your help with bringing high caliber, RNs and techs to our hospital is so important. And that's why, too, going through COVID, we learned so much, but we were only as good as our people. We lost a lot of people during those 2-3 years.
Yeah.
So I'm happy today, that we've gotten that workforce back. And we're in such better place than we were, and even when I got here in 2022. So just that, I think having confidence in the healthcare that AdventHealth brings to this community.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that, and I think we can all agree that AdventHealth definitely makes an impact throughout the community. And it's seen and felt in so many areas, not just education with us. But it just truly shows that you guys care and want to be a part of this community as we grow and that we thrive. So, Mr. Dunkel, thank you for joining us and for sharing your insight today. More importantly, thank you to AdventHealth for its continued support of South Florida State College Foundation, the college, and the broader community. The work that you're doing today through education, innovation, and compassionate care will leave a lasting legacy for the future generations. We are so grateful for this partnership and the impact that it continues to make. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate you inviting me here today. It's been my pleasure.
We'll have you back, I'm sure.
All right, let's do it.
And thank you to all the listeners for joining in. Tune in later for another one.